What's the difference between Amber Alert and your ex-wife, Tyler?
They're both loud and obnoxious.
But you said what's the difference, not what's the same.
That's the joke.
Oh my God.
And I said, that's not a camel. That's my wife.
So there's this guy at work. His name is
Dink dink.
Ding, 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 ding.
This podcast was filmed in front of a live studio audience. Viewer discretion is advised.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks for that beautiful, beautiful opening.
You're welcome.
I'm glad.
Silver is adorable. I just want to point that out.
No side notes.
You know, according to someone else, their name's Marcy.
Who's that someone else?
You already know who that someone else is. If you're listening out there, you someone else, the dog's name is Silver, not Marcy, okay? All right. Thank you very much. You have a good day.
My goodness. So what's up, guys? My name is Whatever Jacob. You know, going back to the podcast. Welcome back. Over there in front of me this time, starting to my left, which is again your guys is nothing, is Mr. Tyler Prasad. Hello, Tyler.
Hello, friends. Just to be, again, very clear, we are filming in front of a live studio audience. Our audience named is Silver. To my right is actually the audience, Silver. And to her right is no one.
You're right, because Matthew's behind him. How are you doing, Matt? How was your day?
My day's pretty good. I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic. So, Jake, what are we talking about today?
I don't really know. I think we're gonna talk about spooky season, because it is spooky season.
It is spooky season.
I guess we were talking about spooky season.
I
then.
love spooky season. It's my
So what are we
favorite
talking
time
about
of
here?
year.
Hollow Scream, Halloween Horror Nights, horror movies, Joker, and all that.
Horror
crap.
movies.
We should talk about that I there.
I haven't seen.
No,
I haven't seen.
no.
it
I
yet.
know I haven't seen
I
it, but
haven't
you've seen it
seen it.
either.
I have not.
But the whole concept of how video games and like movies with violence.
the controversy of
yes. Let's deboggle that.
Okay,
There's actually a big warning, but I'll wait till we get into the conversation to
Yeah.
what that.
Oh god.
okay, so I guess
No
right
spoilers.
right now what we're gonna talk about. Let's go over the reviews that we have because there's quite a few on Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
Have you read any of them, Tyler or Matthew?
I have read one or two of them, but I know we've gotten plenty of reviews since we first debuted, so I'm not sure.
Have you read any of them, Matthew?
No, I haven't. I'm
All right.
I'm pulling them up right now.
Yes.
All right, so I'll read the very first one. The very first one is by wow, look at that. Tyler P.14.
I wonder who that is.
It says wow, just wow. Now I'm not much of a podcaster, but I can tell you that these guys will be big. They seem like head asses, but let me tell you, they know how to break down a topic. Thanks, Tyler. Thanks for the review. Wherever you are.
Yes, Tyler, if you're out there, we thank you for that review and its 5-starness.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go. So,
It's the varsity guy.
Gotcha. Okay. So, Varsity 8 gave us an under average 1-star review and just said, kind of boring to be honest. Varsity 8, if you're still listening, which I highly doubt, if you could just provide a little more criticism, that'd be a little
You don't know what's
helpful.
boring.
You're fired.
Tyler, you gonna do the next one?
Yes, we're gonna. Okay, so the next one is gonna be.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay,
Read
so
the
that's
name.
actually I was actually about to read the one he's laughing at. So, Bad B69 says, and I quote: "Now that you talked about cheating, can you stop chewing on the wire?"
That's not what he said. That was the dog. Hold on, go again.
Here, she's tamed. You good?
Yeah, she's tame now, folks. But back to Bad B69 or 69 as they're gonna want to be called. Who left a 1-star review titled "Could Be Better." I mean, you could be better too, Bad B69. Now that you talked about cheating, can you talk about threesomes? ?
I mean, I don't see why we couldn't, but
I can see why they could be better. Moving on.
all right. So I'll read the next one, and then Matt, you can read the last one.
Okay.
Okay. So the next one I have is by Spicy Then. It says definitely a good podcast. Honestly, I like the podcast.
Ethan.
Oh, it is Ethan.
It's Spicy Ethan.
It is Spicy Ethan. I can't read.
Sorry, continue.
Spicy Ethan, definitely a good podcast. It was a 5-star. Honestly, I like the podcast, but the dudes are way cuter.
Thank you.
I don't know what that means.
If you're stalking us, just know we will find you before you find us.
All right. So the next one.
This is a...
All right. So this is from White Thunder 188.
Oh, wow.
Says would have been a 5. They gave a 4-star review. And this is a long one, so just
Only a
bear
4?
with us.
Why not a 5? I want to know why.
Well, I hope in this paragraph they give a why. So, White Thunder 188 goes, initially listening to the podcast, I was thinking this is dope. Upon further listening, I begin to realize there is someone who sounds like they may not be 100% hetero, in addition to the obvious one, Jake. I'm not mad at you, rather disappointed in you, sir.
Hey. Yep.
I don't see what that has to do with
I
the quality
don't-
of the podcast, but I mean, everyone has their own opinion, I guess.
The box, go.
Where's her rope? You got? Can you toss me the rope?
Yeah, I'm going to...
Hey, yo,
First,
dog.
that's chewing on wires. Just so you know, the
but-
audience is chewing on our equipment. We will have security remove you, okay?
Okay, so but going. That's I don't.
Yeah, I'm confused.
White Thunder 188. Do you mind elaborating? Please leave us another 5-star review.
Oh,
and,
send us an email.
Yeah, send us an email at subtleartofwhatever@gmail.com. Or you can reach us on any of our social media platforms: Facebook, Subtle Art of Whatever, Instagram, Subtle Art of Whatever, or Twitter of Subtle. Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
And after that smooth shout out to our social media, I just want to give a shout out to Tyler for these smooth transitions because he's pretty A1 with it. So
You know,
Thank you.
have you ever watched Jenna Julian podcast?
Who?
No.
It's from Jenna Marbles and Julian, whatever his
Well,
last name is.
this is the Subtle Art of Whatever
Anyway,
podcast.
I know.
so-
But anyways, in their podcast, like he'll somehow do a very nice transition of what they're talking about into going to the sponsors, and it's so funny how he does it because he does it so perfectly.
Tyler, get the iPad. We're going through our sponsors.
We don't have sponsors yet. Anyways, so Tyler, you have a story about the car dealership.
Right. So, yes, Matt does not know about this. This is a secret project that we kept from him. So, I am in cahoots with a local Dodge dealership who is willing, hopefully, I'm still waiting on that email back, Dodge, to confirm whether or not we can come there and test drive vehicles, give some reviews on different vehicles they have in their fleet, stock, whatever you want to call it. And also, they'll possibly give us some free advertisements. So, love that. Matt does not get to drive any of the cars because you have to be 18 or older. So, he gets to sit in the back seat with the salesperson or whoever they put with us in the car. Jake and I do get to drive the vehicles, though. And if it's a 2-door, Matt does not get to sit in it. Just the salesperson.
Thank you for clarifying the 2-door. I had a question about that one.
You're welcome.
Poor Matt. It's okay.
Let it be
18's
known.
not that fun.
Yeah, let it be known. We really want to test drive some Dodge Challengers, Dodge Chargers, and the Ram 1500.
No, just the challenge.
I wanted to check out the newest Dodge Dart. I was really.
Hey,
really
there's
looking
I thought they
forward-
actually-
discontinued
They
it.
did.
Okay.
But hey, they do have an orange one there from I think it's like 2018. Matt can test drive that and talk about how much better it is than his Dodge Dart that's falling apart outside right now since it
Oh,
rained.
and there the door fell off.
And the trunk's open again.
Oh, and the tire's spinning. I don't know.
Oh God.
Oh, speaking of that, I saw your story. So Jake posted earlier his check engine light, and I thought it was funny.
Did I post my story?
Or you sent it to me. Sorry,
Yeah.
but he I got to see it, and I thought it was funny because mine is still on.
Oh.
I haven't taken it to the dealer. I looked up the codes. So for those of you who don't know, if you have a check engine light and you have no clue why, you can take it to AutoZone and they'll do a full check and it'll give you a sheet of like
Not
what it
sponsored
is.
by AutoZone.
And also be advised, it is free. They just plug this machine into like this port. But you could also buy the machine yourself.
Yeah.
But I mean, because my dad did that for whatever ungodly reason, wasting our own paper at home and our own ink and toner. Like, I don't understand. I don't even think the thing's right half the time, but besides the point, AutoZone. Making life better.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's get into. Wait, that was it, right? The reviews.
Yeah, we did the
Tyler's
reviews.
Carler thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess let's go ahead and let's start doing the main showstopper.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Jake. Start it off for us.
Well, I don't think we should talk about like. I know you're about to jump in Joker.
Yeah, well, like the controversial how like movies and video games make people violent.
Yeah, we're just using that as a reference.
We're going right into it. Okay.
So if you guys haven't heard, the new Joker movie is supposedly extremely violent. That
It's fucking crazy.
It's supposed to be
you,
extremely
Tyler.
violent. That like police officers and people are afraid that they're going to that people are going to take it as like a way to start like a mass shooting,
Over there.
and they're going to take inspiration because like back when one of the Batman movies came out, some guy dressed up as like a clown and shot a lot of people in Colorado.
I think. Was
Start me again.
that The Dark Knight?
It was the one with Bane. You know?
The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, it was that one.
Yeah, The Dark Knight Rises. Okay. Yeah, there's also like a big warning for like those those in the military service to like be careful because it could possibly trigger PTSD. Because for those of you who don't know, basically the way somebody summed it up is that you watch the main character fall into madness, and not that it's gruesome, but it's just very.
Shit, it's fucking crazy.
It's a good movie.
It's very real.
I very enjoyed it, and the movie like talked about a lot of like real world scenarios of how people take medical like illnesses like not seriously, and like the movie does show that, and I understand how it could like lead people to thinking it's violent.
I gotta look up movie times.
But however,
Man.
shut up. But however, the movie can't really. I don't think a movie can make a person violent. If you already have violent thoughts, and watching a movie, I guess I could see how that could push you.
There you go.
But I don't think playing playing games with a lot of violence or watching a violent movie is gonna make you like, oh, I'm gonna go shoot someone now.
For the record, after playing Grand Theft Auto for a good while, sometimes when I, leave my house after playing it for like 4 or 5 hours straight, sometimes there are some people who do deserve to get, popped.
No, yeah, we all have those thoughts of like, I'm just gonna fucking crash my car into a tree.
All the time.
Yeah,
But-
like sometimes I'm like,
but,
oh, I
we're
could
not
hit
gonna-
this car.
Just because we play a video game and do it doesn't mean like I'm gonna logically think I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah, like to the guy who was riding my ass on I-4 while I was going 75 in a 55 and you were riding me, let me tell you right now, you are lucky I did not brake check you because you would have been at fault. And it was a construction zone, so it would have been your fault as well. So moving on to the movie times, Matt here has some movie times for us.
Oh, I do.
No, don't say the.
I was gonna say. I was like,
Exactly. I'm over here telling you to get off your phone.
I had to look up movie times.
Okay,
because that was
anywho.
what I forgot to do yesterday.
Anywho,
I
so
wonder why.
can we
What the-
can
Yes,
can
continue.
you get off your
continue.
phone? It is very distracting
I'm
for not
listening,
only.
I'm listening.
Yeah, but it's not distracting.
Whoa,
for only
that
you,
was a
it's
girl.
distracting for the person who also sits right next to you.
Yeah, who was that? Would you get off the box?
So, but like somebody basically put a post out there showing all of the different news sites and news channels giving all the publicity to this issue, and somebody basically goes, they're gonna keep doing this until somebody gives the news what they want, and I find that to be very true.
You mean like until someone finally does do a mass shooting?
Yeah, because like the news keeps putting out there like, oh, this is gonna cause it, and somebody's gonna finally be like, well, maybe you're right, and they're gonna do it and take matters in their own
Yeah,
hands.
they're gonna do some stupid fucking crazy shit and go bah bah bah. You know what I'm saying?
Like
Yeah.
I know, like it kind of reminds me like of when we went to go see It. I mean, having that fear. For those of you who don't know the story, which I don't think any of you do, a small group of us went to go see It shortly after it premiered.
The first one.
The first one, and there's a scene where a balloon, which for those of you who don't know represents It, comes into frame slowly. Now, somebody must have watched the movie multiple times beforehand because they perfectly let go of a balloon in the theater to match the balloon on the screen. And
That shit was terrifying.
yeah, I soiled my pants, I'm pretty sure. But but the worst part is
Like my first thought that came to my head was I'm gonna get shot, or like it's like I'm gonna hear a gunshot.
yeah, a small part of me thought the same thing, and I feel like that's kind of what's going on now. Is people? I mean, it's sad that we live in a world where the possibility still pops into your head whether you think it's going to happen or not.
And it's not even like that far. Like it's not like it's a small chance. Like I feel like the chances of like it actually happening is just so much bigger now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even for me personally, it's happened not even just at like scary movies, like where where my tensions, are up. Like even going to regular movies, sometimes I kind of get a feeling. It's like where I'm a little worrisome.
Yeah, I definitely have that feeling from time to time, depending on the movies. Because you look at some of the people who come in, and like as you're watching, because especially if you like go up all the way to the top or whatever, I like to people watch.
And well, like if you think about it, like even if it's not a horror movie, like you get one of those like big movies, like Avengers
sure.
or something like that. You have a lot of people in there. Like you could definitely do a good number on people.
That was actually one of the moments that I'm referring to. Like when we went to go see Avengers when it came out, Endgame. Like I was a little worried, not gonna lie.
And well, going at 2 a.m. probably didn't help solve that issue either.
That is very true.
It's also probably kind of bad that the movie theaters are like one of the few places that you don't have like security where you get screened or anything like when you walk in.
It
depends on where you go.
You mean like metal detectors?
Metal detectors, X-rays.
I'm surprised
that kind of
that they don't have.
I'm surprised they don't too, but I don't know. I feel like it's more of like it's a very rare thing that anything actually happens in a movie theater. That's why it hasn't.
Well, when I went to go watch Joker, there were cops at the entrance, and then
Well,
there were
that's a
also
normal
cops
thing.
like in front of the movie theater door.
No, yeah, that's a normal thing. Anything big like that, because especially if there's gonna be a lot of people, they know that we should probably put some extra people here, pay them extra money to be there, and why not? And I mean, it's more of a precautionary measure than anything else, just like metal detectors and X-rays. Mm-hmm. But metal detectors and X-rays make you kind of get fearsome sometimes.
If we go back to like the main thing here, like how like it makes you violent. I remember getting an argument with my stepmother because she said she was somewhere with I forget, she was at the hospital or something like that, waiting for like my stepsister was like with her kids, and like there was two separate people. So there was one dad with his child, and there was another dad with his child. One dad was on his son was playing like a learning game on it of like learning the colors or shapes or whatever, and then the other child was playing like Fortnite. And she said that she heard the dad say to her son, like, oh, like, he killed someone in the game. And he's like, oh, good job, like, good job for killing, for making a kill in Fortnite. And my stepmom was like, and the other dad was like, oh, congrats, you can put a circle, like, in the circle slot and put a triangle in the triangle slot.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't understand how that can happen, how parents can let a kid play a violent game. But I'm just like, I don't see how a violent game can make you violent.
There's other factors.
There's a lot of other factors. Yeah.
There's other factors that are going to start the idea. Now the game might shift you from one thought to another, but the original thought is not going to come from one of these things.
Well, I feel like you can't just get it from playing a video game. It has to be other things happening to your
Most
life
definitely.
as well. So like if you're getting physically abused and then you also play like violent games, I could kind of see how your brain could see how that could be a little bit more of a normal type thing to go on than, I guess, not killing anyone.
But the funny part is, the only people really trying to prove this is the news. Scientists have been studying this, I think, since violent games have become a big thing. They started studying it, and they've found no concurrent evidence to prove that video games and violence in video games have anything to do with mass violence or public violence. So I find that kind of funny. Like, how are they? I mean, that can start a whole other topic about news. But like, how are they just gonna come out here saying all this stuff when they can't back it up? Really, like they probably went off of like one scientist's statistics and was like, this person said it's true, so that represents the whole scientific community.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
But that makes no sense. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you got it.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
This is what we mean by two polite men.
Go ahead.
I agree with Matthew on this issue, and I would like to refer to Mr. Perez, who is currently feeling up his dog.
I'm petting my dog.
Yeah. Please express your whatever it was you were thinking of into the microphone, please.
I don't remember, so go ahead. Just fucking talk.
Great. So, hello. So, violent video games and violent tendencies, where is the connection between those two? As Matt was so explicitly saying, yes. Matt?
I mean, Because it's like the same thing with like any sort of mental illness. People
For sure.
assume that I don't use the word pop culture, but some of these popular avenues of messages is like the main reason. It's just like teaching, kind of like what your story. The way you teach your kid is always different between parent to parent. That's more of what you're gonna see with what shapes a kid. You know, it's like the difference between a kid who gets spanked and a kid who doesn't get spanked. They're gonna grow up 2 different lives. But let's say you spank a kid, don't spank a kid. They both play violent video games, live the same life. That's most likely what's gonna happen, because the video games is not what changes them.
No, yeah, it's definitely more of like a mental issue that would change them. Like, I'm not trying to give away the movie or anything like that, but like, it definitely shows how your mental health plays a part in how you're gonna act in society.
Exactly. I mean, I know a lot of it. I don't know if this is proven or not, but from what I've been hearing, more not mental illness is caused by like the way you grow up, but it can definitely be affected. Obviously, you know, your self-esteem, your life view on things can definitely change on how you were grown up, that sort of deal. So,
You have something to say there, Tyler?
So, as like Matt was saying, like if you have thoughts in the back of your mind about, you know, doing violent acts or whatever it is, yes, those are kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, repressed in the back of your mind. Yeah. And playing the games only enhance those thoughts because you're actively doing things like killing or, you know, crashing cars or running over people or whatever it is. You're doing things that you're not going to normally do in real life. Yeah, of course, sometimes when you're driving, you're like, you know, I could just hit this car right now just to hit it. You don't really need a reason. You could just turn the wheel and you're going to hit that car. Or you could crash into the barrier. Or you could run over that person who's running across the middle of the road for whatever ungodly known reason. I mean, I don't understand why when the crosswalk's 5 feet in front of you, but besides the point, you could do those things, but you know you're not supposed to. You know you're not going to do that. You could. It's just there. The thought is there. Playing the game. When you're playing the game, it's just a game. But of course, some people definitely have that urge to just play the game in real life.
Like I know some people, like, I'm kind of like just coming up with scenarios in my own explanation, but like a common case is normally somebody who is kind of pushed down and made to feel lesser than a human, you know, no worth. They kind of feel a sense of authority when they play these games, but the original thought did not come from the games. They were already at a mixed emotion from themselves not being pushed down and not having that self-worth, but the video game just might have moved their thoughts, but it did not start the original idea of to do anything.
And you can also if you think back on it, you can't always blame video games either, because like back before video games were a thing, violence was still there, and people still did crazy shit.
I mean, the numbers weren't as high, but they were still pretty high for the time being.
Well, there was different elements of what our violent video games are today. Back then were totally different things, like those radical movements or comics or movies or whatever it was. There were different things that happened back then that we don't really experience as much today. All you have to do is buy an Xbox and you can play Call of Duty. I mean, you don't need to...
Even now, if you have a computer.
Yeah, that too.
But, like, I just don't see how...
Cool math.
I don't see how it can lead to... Like, okay, so...
It doesn't.
So, I'm, like, doing research on it right now. And, it says, many studies have found that people who play violent video games are more likely to engage in aggressive behavior. In fact, there was enough research leading to this conclusion at the American Psychiatric Association published a policy statement in 2015 concluding that playing violent video games lead to more aggressive moods and behaviors and detracts from the player's feelings of empathy and sensitivity to aggression. However, it then later says that large analysis of violent crime and video Oh my goodness, so many V's. Violent crime and video violent games use found no evidence that increased sales of violent video game leads to a spike in violent crimes. So, like, it says that I don't know. I feel like it is definitely such a controversial topic, but I don't. How do you prove?
But that's the thing. Like all these statistics prove that there can be there can be some negative actions towards it. But the thing is, that's just a fact. That's like saying all. No, I can't use that. That was a bad example I was thinking. But
Well, here's some post by Forbes in February 15th, 2019. It says, new study shows that there is no link between violent video games and aggression in teenagers.
Because all it is it's just a factor. It's one little detail about a person that can't ultimately change what someone does, you know? Like that's more of just generalizing. Like they'll have one person who commits a mass shooting. Did they play violent video games? Yes, that means video games caused it. That's I mean, to be honest, that's kind of what they do. Like they could be they could, like a mass shooting can happen. It's like, well, what did they do the day before? They went to Publix and ordered a sub. Oh my god. People who go to Publix, they're mass shooters. That's kind of what they do nowadays. But
Yeah, that's definitely what they do. They what's the word I'm looking for? They
not exaggerate, but
they focus too much on what they did up until that point, and they
they
stereotype it.
They can't sit on their hands and actually research things and try and figure out answers. The news always just needs something to point a finger to and blame. They don't like to sit around and not have news. I mean, they want the views, especially, which is why they're gonna put big things like a video game up there, like.
And that's why I stopped watching the news, and I don't know what's going on in the world.
I don't know, man. I really don't see how it can lead to it. I mean, I can see how it can push someone further and give them the thought, but I don't see how just playing a game or watching like a movie like that.
Yeah, because I mean, it's all about your viewpoint. Because I mean, if you start researching someone's behavior after the fact, it's kind of hard to tell how they were before. Because some people just aren't violent in nature. That's the sad truth. Like, people are just naturally violent sometimes, and a video game is just one little detail. So I mean, it's kind of hard to pinpoint unless you're doing full brain scans them on their day to day, and then them playing video games. It's hard to pinpoint what exactly is making these shifts in moods or making them focus on certain ideas over others. I mean, like you were saying earlier, there's the natural thought, like, I didn't realize this is actually like a kind of a low number, because I was asking some people I knew if they like thought these things, but they apparently don't. Like, when you're driving, you have the thought, you know, all it takes to start a car crash is all I gotta do is turn the wheel slightly, hit this person, or all I gotta do is hit my brakes. Yeah. That's just a natural thought. But it's kind of hard to pinpoint what takes your mind to go from just a thought to, I'm gonna do it. It's gonna happen right now, and then you do it. Like,
well, I guess that'd also be the same thing with like suicide and shit like that. You know, it's a thought. Like, all I have to do is cut my wrist, or you know, like it seems so simple of what to like how to kill yourself, but
the action itself, but the thought behind it,
yeah, like
is the harder part.
Like, of actually doing it, of, you know, if you have a gun, actually like pulling that trigger,
actually going through it with it. Yeah, that's definitely the hardest part.
But I don't know. I don't think. I mean, it's just what I believe. I don't think it can. Like I said, like, I feel like if you are raised in a household where there's a lot of violence, then yes, I can see you being more likely, because you're mentally being destroyed and brought down enough to a low point where then playing video games could definitely be more of like, oh, this is what society's supposed to be like. But I feel like if you grew up in a normal household and then you just played a violent video game, I don't see how that can make you violent. I mean, I could also see, like, how when I read that research part, how it said it makes people more aggressive.
Yeah.
I could see that, how it could definitely change, you know, make you more aggressive. Because if someone pisses you off in a video game, you could just kill them and that's it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you obviously can't do that in real life, so I can see how you could just let off more anger.
I mean, sometimes Matthew pisses me off, and he's lucky I don't do things like that, and like run him over or
Well,
whatever.
Tyler's just psychotic, but like I remember when I
Facts.
was younger, like when I was first introduced to like a violent video game that wasn't, Mario Kart, Webkins, or what have you. It was.
Yeah, you remember Webkin?
It was.
I had
love
my first
Webkins.
Webkins was like a
Oh my-
hamster.
Mine was a turtle.
He was a turtle. I wanted
Yeah.
a turtle, and then I got a fucking hamster.
Sorry, go ahead, continue, Matt.
Man, what was his name?
I
don't
mean,
even
mine
remember.
was a lion. I had a lion, a tiger.
East Lake days, man.
I had a lion, a tiger. I had a. What are those things called? It wasn't a beaver, but it was like a weird looking thing.
Oh wait,
No,
no,
it
I'm
was a
sorry. My
platypus.
first one wasn't the hamster. My first
It
one
started
was
like with a
fucking chicken or a
W.
rooster or whatever. I think it was a chicken.
I think it started like a W, and then I got a weird rooster bird thing.
I
don't
loved
know.
going to Busch Gardens because Busch Gardens had a bunch
Did
of
they?
different. Yes, Busch Gardens had like because they would have them like that matched like the animals in that area. So like
Oh,
I got
that's
this
dope.
really pretty ass horse one from there. I remember it. I don't remember what I named him, but I
And
remember
now-
having it.
Oh, to him.
Yeah, a lot of them were. I think a lot of them were more. It depends on what they looked like. Like if they looked like they'd be a female animal, I'd be like, oh, you're an animal.
Actually, you know who? When I got my first Webkins, you know who was like one of the moms who was like helping us out that day with them?
Who?
Jennifer's mom. And I remember when
Miss Felder.
yeah, and I remember when like
Mrs. Felder.
everybody's
Mrs.
like
Felder. Yes.
everybody's like fucking Webkins would not work. Like there was like a code or whatever you have to put in.
Yeah.
It was not working for anyone. And then she's over here like, are you gonna remember your password? Well, it's hard to pick a password when it's saying confirmation code or whatever is invalid.
You know what I used to do? Because
Oh,
Crackle
God.
Barrel also had Webkins.
Cut the tags off.
I used to just pull the tags off.
I didn't think about that till it was too late, to be honest. Like when I started thinking about it, they stopped like selling them, and I was like, dang.
Yeah, I had so like everyone kept asking like, how do you have so many? It's because I would just pull the tags off and just put the tag in on the computer later on.
I remember that was like the only stress I had as a kid was like, what am I gonna do with the Webkins room? And I was like,
I
I really
know.
would sit and
over
think
here
about
picking
it.
out
God,
like the
yes.
different things and adding things.
Well, especially when you get a lot of them, like I did, because I just kept taking
Yeah,
codes.
yeah, yeah.
Like you don't want them to match in other animals' rooms. You're just like, what would this animal like? I don't know.
And then
But
you go to places,
and
you meet up with
go
your
to sc-
friends,
you take
and
them
they're
to
and they're sitting like 3 computers away from you.
Maybe video games does lead to violence, and since we played Webkins, that's why we're not violent. Because we were taking care of animals.
I remember the first violent game, back to like my original like story I think I was saying. My first violent video game was GTA San Andreas, which
Oh,
is a
man.
classic, by the way.
That's a good one. But my first
Well,
one.
you don't count like you didn't play Call of Duty or anything like that.
No, my first game was GTA San
shit.
Andreas.
I
I mean,
mean,
I watched my
I've-
brother play Call of Duty when he would come down, because that's all he played. He played every single Call of Duty. He would just sit in the living room. But the first one I played was GTA San
Yeah, no,
Andreas.
my first one was
I just drove
GTA
around.
4. No, that's what I used to do. Was like,
Oh yeah,
Like,
mine was
around.
GTA. My first GTA was GTA 4.
Yeah, GTA 4 was where it's at.
one in
because
New
I
York.
used to
No, I know which one that is. Yeah, literally.
I used to love to go
Or
into
not
like
Liberty City, but
because that
yeah.
one you could go into like buildings or whatever, and then I used to block the doorway with like a car. I would climb over, go inside, and just start going. Bah, 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 bah,
Oh,
bah.
going to the hospitals and like shooting up. the
Oh
hospitals
yes,
is so
I would
much
block
fun.
that with an ambulance, and then they'd be like,
This isn't helping our case.
Wait,
Yeah,
hold
it's
on,
not.
violent.
It's really not.
We're gonna tell you a story of what not to do, and there was like the cop outside, and I would go, bah.
I definitely agree though. Like now that I know what I'm doing,
Now that I think about
like
it.
I do some terrible stuff in
No, yeah,
video
I
games.
was
GTA
over there-
5.
Oh, yeah.
No, listen, there were some things.
Actually, we played together when we done that.
here.
We
over here taking people
one time me and Brianna literally went on a robbing spree. We went to every single, because in GTA 5 certain gas stations you can actually go in and like rob. We did a robbing spree. She drove, I robbed, and we swapped. So like we would map it out, and we went all over Los Santos and robbed every single gas station.
I used to just
With the
shoot,
cops still going.
I used to just go in GTA 4 and just shoot fucking people. All right, like I used to take them hostage in the hospital, and they'd be like shrieking for help in the back rooms, and I'd just be like, "You're
I
gonna
would
die
just like
today."
light it on fire. Take out my RPG, which
Oh.
never understood where the fuck he put it. You know, where does it go? It goes up
Where-
their ass apparently.
He has like 20,000 guns.
so fucking annoying.
No, like one thing I like to do now is I like to start like a traffic pile and just like because they just start exploding on their own. to be
Yeah,
honest.
I love that.
I just love the panic because it's
I
just
know
funny.
They flip their
See,
shit,
what, like,
and then they can shoot at
I don't
them,
like
too.
the panic of it. I just think it's
It's a little
funny.
obnoxious.
It's just funny some of the audio, like whenever you're driving down and you get a little too close to the curb, and all you hear is ah, and like that's just some random like you know what I'm talking about though, right? Like it's like who made this audio? Like I just want to hear that. Like I don't mean to do anything bad. It's just that's the only way you can hear the audio.
Oh,
It's funny.
there's the FBI outside now.
Fuck the FBI.
Hey, my FBI
whoa,
cameraman's
whoa.
kind of nice. All right.
Yeah, whoa. Hey, our federal law enforcement agencies are over here protecting our freedom so we don't go outside and do mass shootings, okay?
How about them Homeland Security peoples?
Okay, that's it.
How about the CIA?
When we get
just taking
super
you to
off
black
topic, that's when
sites
I know
and-
we're done.
Yep.
But like,
So in conclusion,
well, okay, but now that I think about it though, when it came out, there was a big, there's a big clown controversy
Ooh, you're right.
where big masses of I don't want to call them killer clowns, but basically people dressed up as clowns
would go and terrorize people.
and go. Yes, there was actually a case by our school. There was somebody right by the front
I
gate.
remember that.
I remember
Yes,
that.
it was after an event late at night, and there was many reports of people seeing someone dressed up as a clown.
I remember the cops
by
shot
the
him.
gates, yes.
I remember that.
And
I said they should have shot that motherfucker. No,
a lot of, and since it came out, because it was after the first It came out
Yeah.
in 2016.
But yeah, but now and then it got down. Like as soon as the movie went away.
Oh no, as soon as the movie went away, yes, it definitely went down. But still, it's just, see some people they do the initial act of dressing up and going out because they some find humor in horror.
they want that.
It's
those
not
YouTube
the
views.
it's not the actual follow through of whatever they plan. It's just the initial fear. It's the same thing as scaring somebody or pulling a prank on somebody. It's the initial fear that they find amusing, and then there's those who take it a step further and actually commit these acts. Is it from the movie? Is it from their own thoughts? Like they definitely base their appearance off the movie, but did because some people, like what some people do now, what the news is thinking they're doing is they already had the thought of the act, but they are using this movie as an excuse. So I know that was like a big question was like whether these people planned on like murdering some of these people or not. Was anybody murdered? I know definitely people were injured.
Yeah,
But
people
was
were
anybody
injured.
murdered? I can't remember.
I remember there were a couple clowns who like they got popped like either by people who they tried to scare or by the police.
Definitely.
And but I'm not sure if they committed act. I don't think they
No,
Yeah,
the
I don't
clowns
think-
didn't kill anybody. I
I
know
don't
a lot
think
of people
so.
were
If
hurt,
they,
but
if they did, I don't remember it.
but still, hey,
I don't think she likes clowns.
She is a dreamer. Let me tell you that much. Like when she was slept in the car, she would fucking fly rolling around like from dreaming. It was
It's kind of scary to be honest.
no, she's just dreaming.
It's a little,
She's
but
I hope it's just dreaming.
I know a lot of people were asking though, like whether like they planned on it or not.
For what?
For the clown attacks, because some people were skeptical. Like definitely they planned on it, but whether they planned it before the movie came out and were just using the movie as a cover or not a cover, but it's like, oh well, the movie's out, that's why I'm doing it, or were they gonna do it no matter what, whether the movie came out or not? So I mean that it's kind of a similar thing, but it's just kind of the world we kind of live in. I don't know. It's definitely a weird subject.
You can't solve that at all. Well, so in conclusion, I feel like it kind of depends. So like with the whole clown situation, I feel like once one person did it, some people just took it as a joke and like continuously
Because
just
it became
did as a
it
joke.
became a trend.
Yeah, that's why. Because
Like-
society we go off of trends like in this society.
I'm pretty sure it's even a Snapchat filter. If I'm gonna be honest,
It
I'm pretty
probably
sure.
was.
Yeah, like
It
Pe-
probably
people saw the publicity and they're like, "Well, I could become famous." And then that's where you get to the point of they think about starting it, but not actually follow through with the attack of it. They just think about dressing up and going off of that because I think it'd be funny. It's like, oh well, I'm doing the trend, And like I know a lot of people on YouTube did it. They thought it was like a cool idea, I guess, because it got views. I mean that's what the news does. They put what's gonna get views. So a lot of people dressed up as clowns. They didn't necessarily go around running out with knives or machetes or what have you, but they definitely try and scared people with clown costumes to try and be trendy.
They were trying to get those views on the YouTubes and on the Insta chats.
And then with the video games, I feel like if you're growing up in a normal like household, well, I don't say normal because everyone's normal is different, but like in a household where you're not being abused or you're not like being like I guess it'd still be abused. You know what I mean? Like,
but I mean, even then though,
but I feel like,
I've known some people who didn't have the best childhood, played violent video games, and they're fine.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like you have a normal childhood. You play violent video games and you can still be fine. And I'm not saying that the people who only have disturbed childhoods will become violent, but I'm saying like the larger amount of people who have.
That's more so the factor, not the video games themselves.
Yes. So I really don't see how a violent video game can make you violent, unless you have like a mental disability that can break you down to that point.
The politically correct term is mental illness. Just putting that out there, Jake.
Yeah.
Same thing.
No, it's not. It's two very different things.
It's the same thing.
Very different
It's the
things.
same thing.
Like
That's it.
we're not gonna have
Stand by, audience.
We're not gonna bring this up.
We're not having this debate, Tyler.
Tyler, I will stop the podcast.
I'm not saying I'm against you. I'm just saying we're not having this debate right now.
Anywho, on a better note, we have a podcast room now.
I believe the word is studio.
It's technically a home office.
It's a studio.
Okay. So I guess it's a fucking studio.
If David Dobrik calls his office, home office, whatever have you, a studio.
He doesn't even record in there.
I know.
Well,
It's
guess
just
what?
Just for show.
Yeah.
We're not recording in the podcast studio either. We're recording in front of a live studio audience.
Shut the fuck up, Taylor.
That live studio audience
Hey,
fell asleep.
Viewer discretion is advised, okay?
Anywho, so yeah, so we have our own podcast room. We're actually recording it for the first time in it today, but there's nothing in it, just the couch and there's no like
Two
real
tables.
there's
and
real
chair.
real
Well, those don't
furniture.
belong in here.
The only real thing in here is the couch and the HomePod.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
I could hear your like mouth open slowly.
Fascinating.
Stop it. Stop. No.
I learned one word in Spanish.
What?
I learned one word in Spanish.
What is it?
And that word was delicioso. By the way,
Shut up, Dora.
just want to point out before we end this, Silver is like knocked out. She's underneath the table with the mic.
She was perfectly
knocked out
awake.
after trying
And
to
then she
eat our
just-
fingers and chop them off.
Oh, children.
I know.
Always have so much energy.
I know.
And then they crash.
And then they cry. Yeah.
No energy.
And
No
we didn't
coffee
even,
for
we didn't even
her.
give her sugar. We didn't even give her sugar.
All right.
At least not yet.
But send us out.
So thank you for listening to our beautiful podcast of this topic that was very controversial, but we probably didn't talk about it that much, but it's okay. We're fine.
We'll come
One of
back
these
to
days.
it.
But if in the event that you have any kind of topics that you would like us to talk about, you could email us at subtleartofwhatever@gmail.com because that email is very much lacking in responses.
Or you could always look at our social media and direct message us on there, which our Instagram and Facebook both are.
Subtle Art of Whatever.
And then our Twitter is also...
Well, actually, it's of subtle.
It's at of subtle. Don't forget the fucking at sign. It's
Damn,
at
what did the
of
at sign
subtle.
do to you?
Viewer discretion is definitely advised.
And then check out our personal social media. You can follow me on Instagram at...
Don't follow him. My Instagram is going to be Tyler022501, and Jake's is...
Whatever _ Jacob with Matthew's going to be.
Oh, it's mine. I was going to say at this point, just go on their pages and I'm on there, but
Isn't
it's...
it like
it-
dot underscore?
It's _.just.matt._. It's very
That's
confusing.
That's too much.
But listen, it was
Change
hard to
it.
come up with
You don't
something.
even- I think the last time you posted anything on your Instagram it was like fucking in February.
It was states.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That was back in the day anyway.
Yeah.
We'll have to get you something to post. Well,
Oh, I have
TBD on that one after the
Oh,
next
real
coffee
quick,
session.
before we officially go,
that was funny. That was
before we
funny. That was
officially
kind
go,
of funny.
is there
Alright, go
anything new with you?
ahead. I thought I kicked the dog, to be honest. I felt something. No, nothing really new. I mean, I'm doing good. Nothing new yet.
Anything new with you, Tyler?
Check back in a couple weeks.
No. They just have me working mornings. It's terrible.
My guy, and obviously you get up at like 5 a.m.
I get
you
to work at 5 a.m. I get up at like 3:30 in the fucking morning, and then thankfully,
That's not it, Chief.
actually the Dunkin' Donuts near Waterford is 24 hours. I didn't know that,
Oh.
and I went there this morning.
And they were open?
Yes, it was great. Got donuts for the whole shift, and by the whole shift, I mean all 4 of them, because that's the only amount of people they schedule at 5 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Oh, you know what donuts reminds me of? This is for Tyler. By the way, I've had a lot of coffee lately.
Hey, listen, let me tell you, I've had a lot of coffee lately too, and that's only because I'm getting up at 3:30 in the fucking morning.
Guess
but
what?
I know why you're having
you
coffee.
signed the contract, didn't you? It's
So
your
when
job.
Matthew talks about coffee,
He's talking about
a little lady friend.
yeah, just a friend, quote unquote,
friend.
quote unquote. And hey, let it be known, folks, he's buying the coffee. You know what
With
that
the
means?
money he doesn't have.
Exactly. He's using that 480 account.
Let it be known, this is the exact reason why I don't tell them anything, and they get on my case.
Hey, that's okay. We don't need you to tell us anything. We have a direct line to
Tyler
her.
just big-bodied me. I don't feel comfortable.
Shut the fuck
Shut
up,
the
Matt.
fuck up, Matt.
We have the red phone over here in the corner, and that's a direct line of communication to her. Oh, he's going to the phone. Unplug it. Silver, cut it.
She's out.
It's still gonna stay turned on because my computer's giving it power too.
Fascinating.
I know.
So let it be
Anywho.
known. Jake, anything new with you?
Yeah, what's up?
Because we forgot about
What's
Jake.
up
We,
with you,
almost, we,
Jake?
we almost cut out.
Yes.
No.
So I guess
Oh,
the
boy.
newest things about me would be I cut off all of my hair,
Okay, he's lying. He just got a buzz cut.
pretty much.
He's exaggerating.
But I just,
It's not a buzz
it was
buzz.
more
It's
like,
like a one.
I was
I almost got a haircut like
Is that a
that.
1?
no,
even
the
think
top's
it
like a 2 and the sides.
Really? The top's a 2?
This is a half,
Yeah, because
and it goes to a 1.
Yeah,
and it
that-
goes-
Oh,
it's
to
a
be
little
fair,
long on
yeah, I
the
got a
top.
2. Okay, I got you.
I almost did exactly what Jake did a few weeks ago. I just can't stand hair. But
Well, I got tired of it, and I felt like I needed a mental change and a physical change, and I was like, I'm just gonna cut off my hair
I actually need a haircut. I need to
because
get,
I
I need
can't
to get a
afford
haircut.
to get any more tattoos. So I was like, I'm just gonna get my hair.
I need to get a haircut. Matt, remind me to get a haircut before Friday.
And then I guess also, there are, I got a dog,
Oh boy.
and then
She's a sweetheart.
we have a podcast room that's new about me because we had to paint it.
Yeah. I went to work one day at like 5:30. I only had an hour of sleep that night before. Got off at 12, and Jake. I went home and slept for like 3 hours, and then I got up and came to Jake's house
And
to paint.
I'm gonna do this real quick because every time I tell them that we're gonna record a podcast, they always say, "Am I mentioned in the podcast?" So I'm gonna mention them in the podcast.
Ooh, podcast mentions.
That was nice,
Like that?
actually.
Thank you.
I did like that. So, is there anybody who you want to mention in the podcast, or it's not like just a loner type thing? It's gonna be kind of weird.
No, let it be a one that
Hey,
makes
look.
it even bigger of a mention.
Whoa,
Okay.
they're at my workplace.
If you
So-
if you wish to be mentioned,
Yeah, we'll do
You-
like one of those
you
David
know-
Dobrik things we did beginning of his vlog
Yeah.
for years. He's like,
was
into you,
invited.
Sally, or whatever.
yeah, he did a follower mention. So if
Yeah.
you would like a follower mention, follow us on our social media, which will repeat in a couple minutes after this mention, and just DM us.
So
And
this mention's gonna go out to Steven because every time I tell him I'm gonna record it or I post a new podcast, he's like, "Oh, am I mentioned in this one?" And I'm like, "I don't remember, honestly."
hello, Steven.
Hello.
Also, Steven's the one who wrote that review.
You weren't supposed to tell him, but
No,
okay.
he wanted me to tell him.
Oh,
Yeah.
my B.
Yeah.
Oh, and to the group who went to Halloween Horror Nights and did not invite Jake, Matt, or I.
I don't
What are you talking about?
I know.
I don't
well,
wanna get
well,
invited.
an
We'll tell you in a
invite is
minute.
nice. We'll tell you in a minute, but an invite is nice.
the Golden Girls.
Jake, Jake.
It's the Visco girls.
Well, no, because
The
the
Golden Girls.
the
Oh, the
Golden
Golden
Girls.
Girls.
But then the one I don't even know.
Just-
Yeah, Jake, you continue while we talk over here.
No, we're done.
Well, thank you for listening to this
woke
podcast.
her
Follow
up.
us on our
Everyone.
social
I
media.
woke her up.
Subtle
Did-
Art of
and-
Whatever.
no, no,
Subtle Art of
I
Whatever.
woke her up.
At
Of
of
Subtle,
Subtle, and our
our email.
email Subtle Art of Whatever
she's
at
asleep
gmail.com.
She's asleep
Thank you for
now.
listening today.
And thank you, Stephen, for listening today.
Yes, and as always, viewer discretion is advised. Thank you.
Never mind.
Okay.
She's asleep.
Bye now.